Well, you can crack some beers open. Unfortunately, my box didn't make it to me in time, so I am sans beers. Um, so you're gonna have to be,
I'm the mouth for both of us.
yeah. Yeah, so we're doing this with Wise Bartender, and it's kind of part of our celebration of Beer Day Britain, which is a day to celebrate one of the nation's favourite drinks. So we're going to be celebrating some of our favourite alcohol-free beers. Oh, Joelle and Sarah from Drop Bear Beer are watching. Hello. Oh, and Susie's got the beer box ready. Good work, Susie. Is there any particular beer you want to start with, Jessy? Have you thought about what order these might work in?
Well, I guess it might make sense to start with the Lucky Saint, really.
Okay. Shall we shall we chat momentarily about how we taste our beers?
Yeah, sure.
So for anyone that has not done any thoughtful tasting of things before, it's always good to start by having a look at the product. If you can, hold it up to a white background. I've got a really murky experiment from our brewery here, which is a low ABV, which hasn't been released yet. So I can't really say much about it, but that's what's in my glass. But if you hold it up to a white background or to some natural light, you can look at kind of the color and the clarity of something. You can maybe look at sort of the carbonation, how big the bubbles are, whether it's retaining a big head or if that's kind of fizzled away. And you can just start to make some assessments about what you might be drinking. When it comes to actually tasting, it's always good to give it a good swirl and have a sniff and think about what you can smell. And then with the actual taste, I'm not a believer in all the sloshing and gargling, but just get a good mouthful and have a think about what kind of flavors you're detecting. And also for anyone that's not familiar with doing this regularly, don't worry if you're just sipping it and thinking, well, I like it, but I don't know what it tastes of. It doesn't matter. Like, it's something that I think you have to practice doing, I guess, to sort of teach your mouth to take notice of things. So
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
all a bit of fun. So do you want to crack the Lucky Saint, Jessy?
Yes, I have everything pre-cracked. So
Oh,
I don't
brilliant.
have any glasses though, simply because I don't have 8 glasses in my house.
Oh, that's
So
fair.
I'm not going to be able to hold it up to a nice white wall, but
That's fine.
there's
Here's
the
to Lucky
Lucky
Saints.
Saints.
I'm really jealous. Just going to be watching you.
My solo beer tasting.
What are we saying? What's is it zero, completely zero, this one, or?
So this is 0.5%, and they've used Bavarian spring water. So it's quite a traditional recipe that they've used. But it's got quite a bready, almost yeasty vibe,
Yeah.
with a bit of sweetness at the end.
Yeah, when I've not had it in ages, and I think I remember saying that the first time I tasted it, I was like, "Oh, I don't like it. It's too sweet." And then I came back to it, and I think I chilled it properly the second time. And yeah, I think it's more kind of it's quite it made me think of some of the Czech pilsners that I've had that have an intentional sweetness and maybe almost like a little bit kind of buttery.
Yeah, it's definitely got that almost caramelly, malty notes, but it goes very well
Yeah,
with the overall flavour of the beer.
nice. Susie, have you got yours yet? We'll wait and see what Susie's feedback is. Um, so Lucky Saint, they came to our Mindful Drinking Festival a few months ago, and it went down really well. People were absolutely loving it. And I think it's a really good one. Um, for kind of if you're needing something quite light but still with a bit of meat to it, I guess. I wouldn't necessarily pair it with some food, but if I wanted something kind of, I don't know, on a nice hot day, that would be a go-to.
Sun's out, lucky saints out.
Lucky saints out. They've used lots of nuns in their marketing imagery. I'm trying to remember. They got a really famous photographer to do the images for them. I'm trying to remember who it was. But yeah, they're quite new actually. I think they've only been around for a few months, so it's quite interesting to see what they get up to.
Yeah, I think they've got some more hoppy things coming our way soon as well. So
yeah, I think their website had for a while it had a coming soon bit, and it was very mysterious. So yeah, I'm keen to see what they do next. Be nice to see people doing more dark stuff, because I think you've got Nirvana and you've got Big Drop embracing that, and most other people are sticking around the paler end of things. So maybe they'll hit us with something a little darker. We'll see. Gosh, I'm having a terrible hair day, Jessy. Look at this. What's this all about? Where do you want to go next?
I guess maybe to the Nirvanas, the Mantra.
Okay. Yeah.
So we've got the Mantra Pale Ale from Nirvana, 0.5%. So this uses English hops. And it's got quite a spicy vibe to it, really.
Okay.
I guess, as opposed to we're very used to seeing American hops in beers and giving us all those tropical fruity flavors, but this is a lot more grassy and spicy and something you see coming out of traditional English hops.
Yeah, I think it's pretty bold of Nirvana to go for the English hop thing, because I don't know. I mean, I guess it's kind of dying out now, but I think for a while English hops had a bit of a bad rep, and everyone was really hyped about the US stuff. And I think it's really cool that a brewery that is doing the alcohol-free stuff is thinking, let's use some of our own English hops. I wonder where they've got them from. There's a lot of places in Kent, maybe around there. But Susie's just said that Richard says the shape of the Lucky Saint bottle is a winner and does make a difference. I have to say, I agree. It's a kind of a nice change from the usual sort of the 330ml ones with the taller neck. I quite like the shape of the Lucky Saint.
Do you think it makes a difference to the taste, or is this just aesthetic?
Aesthetic.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, maybe Richard thinks it makes a difference to taste as well, but just aesthetically, I think he's appreciating the bottle.
Personally, I like having a long stem so you don't warm the beer up as you drink it.
Well, Jessy, if you had more glasses in your house,
it wouldn't matter.
Oh, so a bit of spice on that, you're saying, on the Nirvana?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, a bit of spice and then a bit of kind of sweetness to go with that, just at the end of the beer. And it's got quite a lingering bitterness, actually, which you don't always get with alcohol-free stuff. Sometimes it can fizzle away quite quickly on your palate, but that sits quite nice, and I think that's probably because of the spice in that.
A bit of longevity. Oh, we like it.
Always good. Always good.
I'm wearing my War Pigs t-shirt, hoodie today.
We can get onto Copenhagen later. Yeah, you're jumping the gun.
Calm yourself. What's the other Nirvana that you've got?
So the other Nirvana we've got is the Karma, which we actually had on draft as part of our mindful pub crawl yesterday.
Oh,
which
brilliant.
Was lovely. So this is a lot more, I guess, what maybe we expect from a kind of a traditional pale ale. It reminds me quite a lot of more cask type stuff. It's very well-rounded flavour, but a lot fruitier than the Mantra was before it.
Okay. Is that kind of like citrus fruit or tropical?
Yeah, more citrusy, and it feels very well-rounded in the malt. So it all sits it's still got quite a sweet taste to it, but the citrus starts to cut through that a bit more.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Would you say you prefer one of those two to the other, or just different beers
I
for different times?
I prefer the calmer, yeah.
Okay.
But I
Nice.
like that more citrusy, tropically flavour.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as you kind of said, the mantra is just as even beyond the taste, it's just a very interesting beer,
Mm.
and it's got a flavour profile that we don't tend to see in alcohol-free beer that much.
Yeah.
Whereas the calmer, it does feel a bit more of a standard taste.
Yeah, that's fair. Susie and Richard have just clarified for us um, that they were talking about the appeal, aesthetic appeal, not
Aesthetic
taste.
appeal.
Oh, Jen's joined us. Hello, Jen. Oh, she's gonna love it. Hoppy and malty. Right. Where would you like to head next? I realise that if you're at home drinking along, you're probably going to need a bathroom break quite soon. Many beers.
So am I. It's a lot of liquid 8 beers. I'm not advising anyone down these, even though the alcohol content is non-existent.
Oh dear. Right. Where to? Where should we go?
I think we should head on to the Thornbridge Big Easy.
Ooh, yeah. Have you had this before?
I've got to say, this is one of my absolute favourite alcohol-free beers. This is a total go-to in any venue where they have it. Straight away, that is where I'm headed, because I think it is absolutely fantastic. So here it is for anybody who's not got it, including you, Anja.
All right, rub it in.
Yeah, I just think this is so good. I don't know if you want to talk a bit about Thornbridge and where they stand kind of traditionally in the beer scene.
I mean, I guess they're pretty big, aren't they? And they have a really good reputation. I think their kind of flagship, their sort of the beer that they're most known for is probably the Jaipur. And yeah, you kind of see them everywhere, really. They're very well known, very well respected. And I was kind of surprised actually when they brought Big Easy out, just because it seemed like so many of the bigger breweries, it wasn't really on their radar to dip a toe in the low and alcohol free stuff. And it was just really nice to see them do it so well. Like they've really, I think, shown a lot of care in making it. Like it's a brilliant beer. It's one of our go-tos at the moment. There's a really nice beer bar in town, and this is their alcohol-free option. And sometimes we'll just pop in like after absolute nerds after the gym for a little Big Easy before we go home for tea, and it's really nice. So yeah, have you had a sip? Tell me all about it.
What I love about this is I just feel the fruit flavours in it are so well pronounced. You get so much peach and apricot, and sometimes when we talk about fruit flavours in beer, I feel like it's very easy to throw words around and you can't actually always pick them out in the beer itself. But what I think is so good about this is, honestly, you can really taste those two fruits very, very clearly. Yeah. And I think it really enhances like the enjoyment of the beer. And I think it gives the beer, you move away from the kind of like thinness that you can sometimes see in beer and get this really well-rounded, flavorful mouthful.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. It's like I think it's quite complex. Just like you say, like you can pick out each element of it, and then that kind of layering of those fruit flavors makes it feel more full and satiating somehow. Like exactly like losing that thinness. It's just more satisfying. I do really like it. Big favourite.
Really good. Yeah. And as you say, it's great to see, a big popular brewery kind of bringing out these beers, and also like not even with much fanfare, just like having it out there as an option, and it allows like new venues who might stock their alcoholic stuff to start bringing that kind of variety to their lists, which is great, really.
Yeah, and I think it just raises awareness within that sector as well, because they are gosh, I can't believe I'm about to say this. There's such a thought leader that other people will look at what they do and say, "Oh, look, Thornbridge are doing that. We should maybe get on board." So it's really nice when people with influence will start to do these things.
Yeah.
What are you going to have next?
So I think next, the Big Easy uses Amarillo and Cascade hops as their kind of headliners. So I thought next we should try the Cypher, because they use the same hops with 3 extra American things. So it's quite an interesting comparison. And this one I actually did put in a glass.
Oh, heavens.
Because when I opened it, it was very overexcited. So I had to pour it out. But yeah, this is really interesting. They add grapefruit in as well. So you kind of expect grapefruit to come out a lot, which you do get. It's got that kind of like bitterness that you expect from grapefruit. But I also find this beer really nutty. And I can't at all put my finger on where it's coming from. I don't know whether it's the malts maybe that are giving it that kind of bit on the nose and in the mouth.
Okay.
It's got like an interesting like hazelnut to it, which is quite at odds with the kind of tropical flavours you expect from the hops.
Okay. This is unusual.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Is it pleasing?
It's not displeasing. It's just very, I think this is one of the interesting things when you're tasting beer is you can say, look at the hops that are written down and be like, oh, I expect it to have these kind of tropical flavours. But sometimes when you taste it, that's not actually what you find coming out in your own palate. And it might just be my palate, because also at this point, by the time you've tried about 5 beers, who knows what's really going on in your mouth.
Yeah, you've probably kind of blown your taste buds a little bit as well. But interesting. Oh, this is from a very nice chap called Khaled. I think his story is quite a nice one, and one that you will probably relate to as well. He used to work in hospitality for a very long time, and just found that his mental health was really suffering, and he wanted to be able to enjoy drinking, but without that impact that it was having on him. And that's where the inspiration came to create the beer, so Mindful IPA. I think that's the case for a lot of people that work in hospitality. Like it's a really challenging industry. So yeah, I think what Khaled's done in making the beer is it's pretty cool. I actually saw it somewhere today. I was dropping my boyfriend's mum off at the bus station and nipped in to get a coffee somewhere, and they had this in the fridge, which was nice to see. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not something we see down here in London so much. So
yeah, I think he's based in, I want to say Bradford. I might be lying. I think it's Bradford. My friend actually lived with him in America for a bit.
Small world.
I know.
Small alcohol-free world.
Isn't it? I opened my fridge and she was like, "Oh, my mate made that." I'm like, cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Right, next.
So next, I thought we'd move on to the tropical IPA from Drop Bear.
Oh, Jessy, 1 second. Just to give you some affirmation that you're not crazy, Susie is also saying hazelnut on the nose.
There we go.
So it's
Me and
not
Susie
just
have the same palate.
Sorry, please carry on.
Yeah, so we got the tropical IPA from Drop Bear. So we met Drop Bear a couple of weeks ago, and they're absolutely lovely. And I'm not just saying that because they're watching. It's true. And this is by far and away one of the, my favourite things that I've tasted recently. I think it's really, really punchy and bitter, because often I find with lower ABV beers is that people add in lactose to generate the kind of mouthfeel that you expect from alcohol. But I often find they make the beers very sweet, and Drop Bear don't have any lactose in this, and it just gives it a real fantastic bitter traditional IPA finish, which is great.
I was really jealous because you tried this a couple of weeks ago, didn't you? And
yeah.
I've been very much looking forward to getting my hands on some. I will wait another day. But yeah, you were singing its praises then.
Yeah. So they've got this, and they've also got a yuzu pale, which is great as well. Really, really cool to see. People going out there a bit more with the flavors, and trying these, more exciting fruits, which we've been seeing in the normal beer scene for a while now, but it hasn't really transferred over yet.
I think yuzu's a pretty cool shout. yeah, quite a lot of the sort of hype breweries have been getting their hands on using. I think it's really nice as well when someone's doing something that's alcohol free or low ABV. It's really nice that um, you would still consider using those extra things that are gonna be more expensive, but you still care enough about delivering a really interesting product that you're gonna invest your time and money in doing that. So yeah,
Yeah,
hats off to Drop Bear. I
yeah,
always say it
very
wrong.
very
I think I
impressive.
got it right then. Drop Bear. Drop Bear
Also,
beer.
I was very confused about what a drop bear is, but they explained it's something that apparently is used by to scare tourists
Oh,
in Australia. So they've got a bit about on the back. They say drop bears are the carnivorous relatives of the koala and have recently been spotted dropping in the UK. But at first I thought it was a real animal, but it's not.
you were
I guess
terrified.
it's very cute. I like them a
It's
lot.
cute. Nice. Are they, are we seeing them at our festival?
Yes, we will be seeing them
We
at our
will be.
festival.
That'll be nice.
It'll be very nice.
I'm going to need to bring a really big suitcase this time. It's going to be a lot of stuff that I want to take home. I brought one to the first time I came. I brought like a full-size giant case, and I was trying to get that across London on the tube. It was pure hell. Not doable.
Not the one.
Not the one. Right. What have you got left?
So we've got two left. So I was really excited to try this one. So this is McKellar's Weird Weather,
Yeah.
and it's a New England style
Which is crazy
IPA,
to do.
which is crazy,
I
and my favourite beer style ever.
Is it? Okay, cool.
Yes. So I was very, very excited to try this. I always think what's interesting is they brewed this at several different ABVs. They brewed it at about 9%, 6%, and this, which I think comes in at 0.3.
Okay. Does it deliver? Do you love it?
It's very orangey.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to explain to what, if anyone doesn't know what a New England style, what we might
So New
expect from it.
England, you would usually expect it to be like I'd say generally less bitter and more tropical fruit led. So lots of kind of juicy, soft tropical fruit flavors as opposed to those kind of bitter, citrusy things you would sometimes look for in IPA. And it's down to a lot of it is down to obviously the hops, but also to yeast as well. Yeast plays a big part in it, and it's usually going to be really hazy as well. So, okay, lots of orange. Is there lots of tropical fruit?
Yeah, it is like the orange comes in with that kind of the tropicalness. You get some grapefruit as well in it. And they've used oat flakes in this to give it the kind of thickness that you
Body.
also expect of a New England. Yeah, it is really impressive. Personally, I think that it's almost too juicy, which sometimes I find with
Full strength.
higher ABV New Englands as well. People like to go a bit
Juice bomb.
overboard on the fruit, and yeah, juicy boys as they end up being known. And I think that one could do with having maybe a bit something else to cut through it. But I think in terms of again, really going out there and trying to replicate a style at a lower ABV, it's a really exciting and it's very, very good in what it does. In the same way that many of my issues with it, you can hold up to many higher strength New
Yeah.
Englands.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of them, even some of the kind of like 8, 9% ones, you sometimes find that it's just like drinking a cup of Rubicon, and it's
Yeah.
like this isn't really what I expected or wanted necessarily.
And to
So,
be honest, it's a similar kind of vibe that I'm guessing from
okay.
that. But nice to have something a bit different.
Yeah. I think it's yeah. Mikkeller, for anyone watching that's not familiar with Mikkeller, they are just a phenomenal brewery based in Copenhagen. Um, and they do some crazy stuff, and they're just kind of known around the world for just being pretty brilliant. So again, in the same way, like we were saying with Thornbridge, like Mikkeller have a few things actually that are low ABV. The drink in the sun is something that I treat myself to occasionally, which is a good
They
one.
developed their own yeast strain, right?
Yeah, I don't know who with. I'm assuming they partnered with some sort of yeast scientist.
And they do lots of running events, so they like to go in on some of the low ABV isotonic
Yeah,
things that you can see about. But I was talking to you about this the other day, Anya. I really want to get my hands on Tool,
Tool,
who
yes.
are Mikkeller's kind of, I guess, little brothers in a sense. The the founder of Mikkeller was a chemistry teacher, and he
He
taught
taught
the
Tool.
Tool guys how to brew.
It's
So
cute,
they're
isn't
kind of
it?
like siblings, very cute. And they've just released a pear alcohol-free sour,
Ooh.
which I've only seen on the internet so far, not in real life. But I hope to spot it in the wild sometime soon, to be honest.
Brilliant. Oh. Oh, Susie's just said they liked the weird weather and it reminds them of a hoe garden with a slice of orange rather than lemon.
Yeah, I definitely see that. The orange is a strong taste in that one.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we're down to our last beer.
it's one of my
It
favorites.
is one of your faves.
Oh,
It's the Big Drop Stout.
what a treat.
So this is very different to everything else we've tried so far. Very different.
Do you feel really under pressure to drink quietly?
I hadn't thought about it. I'm
Just
glad you didn't
now
mention
you're
it till
thinking.
now. But it's done.
Sorry.
That's my last
It's
sip of
that's
beer.
over.
So,
It's done.
was I drinking loudly?
No, not at all. I was
Oh, well,
actually
then it
just
was fine.
thinking, wow, Jesse's drinking really quietly. Oh,
This has a lot of coffee and chocolate and all the kind of flavors you expect to get off a dark beer. It's really very, very good. The the coffee and the kind of dark chocolate just come through so nicely, and you kind of get a sweetness that goes together with the bitterness from the coffee flavors from the roasted malts. That they just bond together so well. Yeah, it's really, really good. And you're right, we
nice.
don't see many of dark beers in these lower ABV formats, so it's really cool that the guys at Big Drop are doing this, and it wins lots of awards for that reason, really.
It does. It wins lots of awards against full strength dark beers as well, which is a pretty astonishing achievement. Um,
Why do you like it so much?
I think I've always enjoyed those kind of darker, rich, kind of roasty flavors.
Mm.
That's always been something that appeals to me. And to have something of that flavor with still being so full bodied, um, it's just a delight.
Yeah,
And it doesn't like it is full bodied, but it doesn't sit heavy on you. You know, like if you were to have, I don't know, like a big milk stout or something, you would kind of have a bit and then think, oh, this is so heavy, and feel really full. And with this, I feel like it's still got all that body and all that
yeah.
flavor, but I don't feel like I'm heavy after drinking it.
Just want to dip cherries in it or something, like a
Yeah.
fondue.
I think it would probably be good to cook with as well.
Yeah, yeah, I reckon so.
Oh, we should make a cake and put it in. Mm.
Yes, that's a good. That'll be our next webinar.
Yeah. Oh, baking.
Baking with Anya and Jessy. We'll
I
be the
can't.
Melissa Coles of the alcohol-free world.
Oh my goodness, I can't bake at all. Cool. Wow. I'm just seeing what Susie said here. Oh, we're on the move. Susie's saying the favourite of the lot so far has been the weird weather.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's really out there. I definitely think my favorite has to be the Big Easy. It just it's just so good.
It ticks a lot of boxes, I think. And
Yeah, I
it's
I just think the fruit flavors that come out in that are really, really impressive.
and I think you could put that in front of someone that is very knowledgeable about beer, and I think that they wouldn't necessarily say that was, what was it, 0.3, or was it bang on zero?
0.5.
0.5. I don't think they would necessarily know that.
I think with a lot of these,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised. People see an ABV on something and they tell themselves it's going to taste like it before that taste like something else before they've even tried it. And almost all of these beers, I think, can more than stand up to any kind of higher ABV alternative as well. And that's what's so exciting, to be able to try 8 low ABV beers and then them all to really hold their own.
Yeah, and I just think it's really exciting style wise to watch the range just grow all the time.